All right, welcome to Public Works Standing Committee, October 8th. Oh, let me start this video too. There we go.
I don't have that Randy guy on me. Which Randy guy? Randy guy. Oh.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Friendly, good guy.
meeting minutes from September 24th.
Did you see that thing from the Boston lawyer?
I emailed them out like
Who's
45
running the
minutes
meeting?
ago. I just saw that. I
Me
sent it
and
out to
Chris
you.
are
You may need to rope in your audience.
He's supposed to be sending me the
Oi!
file.
Sorry.
Focus, focus. Everybody focus.
Talk over.
Focus, focus.
I'm talking about public works.
That's fair. You always are. So real quick, we're gonna just get into this, and then we will get our Public Works update from Mike here in just a second. But real quickly, meeting minutes from September 24th.
I just went in here and they're like, oh, look, right there. Yeah, and, you didn't have much time. I'm fine if we wanna just.
Yeah,
table
can
that
we
till
push
next
it
time.
to the next one?
Oh,
Yep.
wow, there's a lot. Okay, yeah, I wasn't here. I wanna read them all.
Yep.
Should only be 2 pages. Yeah, okay. I drugged myself and slept.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we will push that to the next meeting. Number 2, Public Works update from Public Works Director Mike Maples. The
Okay.
floor is yours.
Stormwater project's right outside, so,
Field trip.
all the main lines in. I think that means there's substantial completion. About 20 inlets put in. We're hoping to see Warden asphalt back here possibly Monday, to do the paving. And they're pouring sidewalks. They started down Grant, or on Platte, and they're working their way south. Everything's going pretty good. We're more or less on schedule, maybe a little behind, but not terrible.
Mike, when you say pouring sidewalks,
Yes.
can you give more information? Sidewalks where?
Like where they had to tear the sidewalk out to put a curb stop in.
Okay.
They started on Platte, that's where most of them are.
Yeah.
And they're working their way up, so.
We'll have a few others, not much, well, a few on the west side, but not much. And sewer stuff, we've been cleaning out some sewer lines that were really full of stuff, so that's been fun.
Yum.
We've been working with the contractor or the developer that's building over by the old zoo, Adam Quick, and that project's gonna get rolling here, for real, pretty quick. You'll see some activity over there, if you haven't already.
Pretty quick.
Not too much going on with water right now. I think last time we met, I discussed kind of some funding scenarios.
Yeah.
I still haven't sat down with the mayor and Lonnie to go over those yet, so don't have anything new on that. I did get some numbers back on the solar carport thing, which I see is coming up.
Cool.
And right now, and I went back to the company that provides the structure, and had them redo a few things. I had the previous one out for bid. This newer one should be cheaper, and easier to build. But because of the depth of footings, we have to dig a big hole in that parking lot. And we have to put a lot of concrete in, and then we have to repave it, and then we have to get a conduit up there, and then we have to redo the curb and sidewalk. Right now, we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood, and we need to fine tune this a little more, of, I guess, 44,000 just for the installation of the carport. That doesn't cover putting the solar panels on it.
That's just the install for the structure.
That's just the install for the structure. And I need to get with Henry and see where he's at on his bid, and see what he covers for electrical in there and what we might need. So I'd probably want to throw in something for just a contingency number of like 3,000 to 5,000. Hope we don't spend it, but budget for it in case we do. So before I feel good enough about submitting that one, I think we need to do some more fine tuning, get the number right. 'Cause it's gonna be, and that's not the cost of the structure.
Yeah, that's just the install.
The newer structure, the last one, I think I told you was like 22.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a little less. It's only got 3 posts instead of 4.
Oh, okay.
So give me a little more time to crunch some more numbers, get a good budget together. In regards to the other one, I think I'm good with that one. I would like to throw 5,000 more in on it to cover, again, electrical contingency in the event we can't get the variance, have a disconnect not near the meter,
Right.
then we're gonna have to figure out how to get one over there. So,
Is that meter at the Arts Guild, is that what you said last time?
Mhm.
So that's why we need a variance?
so the meter for the arts, for the bathrooms is on the Arts Guild, and the meter for the solar charger, or the EV chargers, is on the bathroom.
Makes perfect sense.
100%.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Taking that one off.
Also, sidewalks are looking good.
Oh, yeah, we started grinding sidewalks. There's a learning curve there, but I think we're, well, we got done the dam, and we got cut short on our grinding time a little bit because of other things, but, that was the first day that I ran that grinder and Rob ran the other one, and, they came out really good, I think, we're gonna get better at it, so.
Cool.
First try.
I think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
He's still
We
looking for,
had some panels that didn't lift very well on the west side, we haven't got over there with the grinder yet, but like in front of the snag, that part in front of the snag was identified as, that needs to be replaced, it's kind of too far gone. There was a really bad one that I've seen numerous people trip on right by the corner store, the gun, whatever it is, gun.
Yep, the antique.
And I didn't get a chance to talk to Randy before he left today, but I can see he shot a lot of foam underneath it, and it didn't really move.
oh,
So, we'll have to, I'll talk with him in the morning and.
Have everyone downtown check their basements, make sure there's
that's
not a
what I
bunch
was
of foam.
just like, where did it go?
It's gotta go
Yeah.
somewhere.
No drinking water.
It could just be bound up, and it may just, who knows, I don't know. We'll come up with plan B for that one. So,
Okay, cool.
and they look a little weird right now, but I think after we get a little weather on them,
They'll look all the same more.
they'll always look a little different, but they won't be as drastic as they are right now. Once we get a little weather and
Is the intent
yeah,
still to be,
whatever else.
is it still, the intent still to be finished, before snow flies?
Don't know.
Don't know.
Gonna try.
I think our latest target is we're trying to be at least half done before weather interferes.
The timing works out, I think, pretty well when, we got the budget approved to do it, we ordered the equipment, it got here. It's the perfect time to do it.
Mhm.
It's slow,
Mhm.
mornings are quiet.
Weather's still good.
Yeah, so we'll get done as much as we can. Randy's gonna be here today, tomorrow, Thursday, and then we'll schedule next week after we see where we're at on Thursday.
Cool.
And I can tell after today that he's gonna move a lot faster than us. So we're gonna be, as we go along, we're gonna get further and further behind him. And then he's gonna be done, and then we're gonna keep going and eventually get.
Is the work he does not make the situation worse until we get there though, right?
No, it should help. I mean, as long as nothing goes sideways, and if something goes sideways,
Then we'll prioritize that one.
I mean, it can't get much worse, right?
Well, don't say that.
I don't know.
knock on
You
things.
can always get worse.
I like to live dangerously.
anything with parks? Is there anything with parks?
I think last time I was here, we sealed the concrete at the Pride Park. We still haven't gotten to the, skate park yet. I need to get with, who's the guy that kind of ramrodded the skate park? I met him one day.
Ryan?
What?
Is it Ryan?
Ryan Rummel? Ryan Rummel?
Ryan, does that sound right?
He's the guy that kind of raised all the money, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
that'd be
that
Ryan.
wasn't Ryan, that was,
No?
Cairo,
Cairo, the other guy.
yeah.
There's,
Aaron?
John? Dan? John, no.
It's the son. He's
I
he's
only
a
know the name,
skateboarder.
it's
He's a
Aaron.
professional
It's Aaron, but I
skateboarder.
don't know about Aaron.
oh, well, let's go.
Either way, Aaron Cairo or Ryan Rummel will get you. Ryan,
I need
I
to
think
get
it's
hold of
Aaron.
him, 'cause he was gonna, he had some fancy graffiti remover. He was gonna take all the graffiti off first.
Oh, gotcha.
That sounds like Aaron.
And then there was another guy that was in charge of it from the park board that was spearheading it. What was his name? Do you remember?
From back in the day? From when this happened? I mean, Travis was a big part of it,
What was his name?
but I don't remember if he was on Parks Board.
No, it was a guy who was in charge of, I can't remember his name. He was an older guy.
So what else is part, so the baseball guys are working on,
They're fishing.
pitching, batting cages, I think, and a pitching area, and I think we're gonna end up helping them out with that a little bit in terms of, they're gonna take down some of that chain link fence that's where the batting cages are now, and we're gonna move it back in the bathrooms. We'll go down there and drill all the holes for them so they can put the posts in, and, we do have the bathroom winterized there, pool's winterized. All the sprinklers are blown out. I think that's gold. We had our last round of watering the trees last week, and, Willie's gone this week. When he gets back, he's gonna go pull all the bags off the trees so they don't get destroyed over the.
Okay. And I do have an apology. Alan, I see that you have a hand raised. Is it in regards to the grant? Can we move, or the grant application?
Oh, no, actually, I was just wondering if there were any updates on the Public Works and Recycling solar installations.
Can you say it one more time, Alan?
Yeah, I was wondering if there are any updates on the Public Works solar and the Recycling Center solar, you know, the Northwestern Energy Grant.
Yeah, those interconnection agreements got accepted by, Northwest Energy. So I think we're at a point where I just need to get together with Henry and get on a schedule to do the work. So we got those done, I think it was about 10 days ago. They had to be in by the 5th, and we were about 5 or a week ahead of schedule on that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Isn't there a recycling center kind of review presentation for the council coming up sometime soon, or is that?
That,
Yep.
yep, it is in process.
Before my
I-
term is over, I
I'm-
promise you will have that.
I know that feeling, so I'm not being
Yeah.
critical, I'm just checking my,
I get it. Yep, it's still on my big list, and I'm sorry, that's all I can say. I'm working 7 days a week, so I can do what I can.
I get it.
Yeah,
I understand.
and then, Madam Chair, I had a question on the, while we're on, and it's kind of Public Works, and I think I saw an email go out on the resolution for the dissolving of the pool committee.
Yes.
Is
Sorry, I got to it, I guess I didn't get it quick enough.
it, yeah, because we've got to have it by Thursday in order for it to get out to, in the package all. But do you have copies for this group?
I emailed everybody. I have a copy I printed out. Yes.
Do we, and then, because one of my questions is, one of the pieces of feedback we received that I think makes sense is that within that, we formally say that input or public input or I don't want to call it oversight, but that not only do we dissolve that one, but we include that it's gonna be handled by the Parks Board, because it just goes back to the
Oh,
Parks Board.
I didn't realize that it was,
It was an idea that somebody brought up, and it's kind of like, makes sense to me.
makes sense, 100%.
Well, it is a public park, but what do you mean?
So
The
wouldn't that
public
be-
park- The Parks Board would have oversight over the pool?
No, well, only to the extent that they do whatever, it's just a public input into Public Works
Oh.
about things.
Okay,
So right now, if the public had input or something, it came via that pool committee.
Mhm.
Now that pool committee is gone, does that mean there's a lack of channel for that to
Okay.
happen?
Oh,
Or does
so-
it just mean our public insight board is
Now through the,
the existing Parks Board that's there?
would
okay.
they be?
So that be under the now therefore be resolved, the pool committee's dissolved and
So
oversight?
can we include that in the resolution, or
No,
do
that's
we
what
need
I'm
to?
saying, I think it needs to be, I think it's for discussion about including that in the resolution.
Yeah, it would,
Okay.
it would be now therefore, it be resolved that any public input
Be directed?
or be directed to the Parks Board as the swimming pool is a public park,
Okay.
or something like that.
I'm in the wrong.
Okay.
Because you don't want to say oversight or anything like that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's not supervisory, it's
No.
not,
It's input.
Input.
Switching account.
Okay.
Hold on. There we go.
So while you add that,
Switching to.
Cinta, we'll get
Switching
back
to a different
on
drive.
to our agenda. So we have resolution number 3667, Northwestern Energy Solar Grant application for the carport. We just received the update from Alan and, not Alan, that's Alan, you're Mike. Just received that input in terms of what this is actually looking like it was gonna cost. Don't feel good about putting in a resolution at this point to move forward on this grant at this time.
Yeah, we can get a better budget.
So on that note, Alan, remind me the deadline. It's November, correct?
Yes, it's November 1st.
Make that.
We had
Okay.
it, up for action at the second meeting in October. It's on the
So,
agenda tonight, so we can discuss it, I guess.
yeah.
Well,
I
I
think-
guess you could pass a resolution to do it. but-
Yeah, all we're doing
Same thing
is
as
providing the
budget.
authority for the mayor to
We could
sign
have
off
the
on it.
resolution now, but we're just not ready to pull the trigger until.
Yeah, we could end
we
up
get the
not
budget.
doing
We
it.
could do the resolution today.
Yeah. So we can have that up for action at the next meeting and still stay on that timeline, provide him time to get the budget and also not lose out on the opportunity for waiting on us to approve a resolution to approve that he signed.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll continue to move forward with that as a discussion. We'll just make that a clear statement when we have our meeting tonight. Just like this is what we're up against, and though we're having this resolution in place for the opportunity to do it, we might not necessarily get that opportunity. So, same with the resolution number 3668, Northwestern Solar Energy Grant application for the Lions Park restroom, same kind of situation, I take it?
Yeah, that one's pretty, I think, like you said, all we need to do is add a little
Cushion.
cushion into it and it's good to go.
So here's my next question. So in resolution, sorry, I'm gonna backtrack myself a little bit, 3667, which I had up. There we go. One of the things is the commitment of $3,500 of the matching funds for the grant was recommended by the Resort Tax Committee and subsequently included in the Red Lodge annual budget. Alan, is it a 10%? What is our, match on that?
So we don't know, but historically it has been 10%, and I'm talking about the most recent round where we got 10% match requirements for the Public Works and the restroom, or sorry, the Public Works and the recycling.
Okay, so that's 10%. I'm doing mental math, which is not a good idea. Looks like we're gonna be coming in shy of that match. So
And
hopefully it
just,
doesn't have to be.
I think we could maybe fine tune that. I might be wrong in this, but I think it was $5,000 total, which was for the restrooms and the solar carport. And if we were penciling out 9,000 for the restrooms, and that would mean only 900 required match, and so that would leave 4,100 for the solar carport, which if you do the mental math backwards would come up to a $41,000 total.
Okay. And you're already saying 44?
Yeah, well, it's gonna
for
be.
just the
it's gonna be-
install.
It's kind of,
Yeah, that-
it's probably gonna be less than 44, because like I said, it's got one less post, so it's less concrete, less big, wood digging's about the same.
Okay. So we'll move forward with the resolutions, have the discussion tonight, and have it up for action in the following meeting, while we still pencil out some numbers.
I'll have a budget together by
Perfect,
the end of next week. I just got this today.
cool.
I can, now that's something that, it
Okay.
won't take long.
So we'll stay optimistic.
Hmm?
We'll stay optimistic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Mike, and thank you, Alan. I know you're being extremely patient as we're being excruciatingly detailed.
No worries, that's a good thing.
Okay. Next up, review of RLMC 614, reserved parking space, handicap parking. I know that we had a discussion last week to where we were not ready to have a discussion about it last week.
Okay.
Did anyone get a chance to look through that yet,
Handing it out
or?
right now.
Scratch paper, so don't mind the back, please.
It's okay.
An old city budget.
Perfect. Okay.
Oversight, oh, I thought it was correspondence.
Parking space for a house that has a handicapped person living in said house who needs access via wheelchair or any other device may reserve one parking space where access is possible for a handicapped person to get from the house to his or her vehicle and from his or her vehicle back to the house. Okay, so this,
Wait, what?
sorry, I'm just reading.
And then public buildings is really what we were addressing, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
public
so I was like,
building.
what does this have to, how, I'm sorry, how does the city have?
Well, this is the way it is right now, and so
I feel like there's a lot of issues with this.
Okay,
So public buildings specifically is what brought it to our attention
so we're just looking at number 2.
for right now, but this is honestly something that might
Well,
need,
I think the whole thing needs to be reviewed.
yeah,
That's a lot.
it's a lot,
And it
and,
seems,
and a lot of it is wild. like- So number 2, specifically, we'll start with what brought this to our attention. Space in front of or adjacent to schools, churches, theaters, hotels, and other public buildings to be used at stated times by patrons, guests, or occupants of such premise for their convenience. So, and just to kind of go to the back, is the council may, upon written application, therefore, and upon payment of the fee herein provided, designate and reserve space on the streets of the city for motor vehicles as follows. So number 2 says that someone that is, and to me, it says this is public building.
building.
So any business on Broadway
Yep,
is a public building, and
So-
so I think that's a real issue.
So we're expecting that would be like the entire Main Street, according to this, should be,
You could, if, I as a business owner could come in and say, I want to reserve public parking all around I don't want the
only.
Department of Revenue parking in front of my building anymore, I don't want the courthouse to park in front of my building anymore.
do we have the actual application for this?
The simplest way to do this would just be to not say public buildings, but say government buildings.
Well, one of my things, just based off on our previous conversations in land use and planning around event applications, this keeps saying that they can apply for. So where's that application and what does that look like?
Yeah, it says right here, application for space provided. Do we,
I mean,
where-
that, I
where it
think is
says
what we look at, because I mean, if
Oh
it's
my-
really, really strict application,
Safety people, they handle parking. Scott,
I love that idea.
that's what
I agree.
I think the police chief
Here you
should
go.
have a say
I
on
think
that.
that is very true.
so yeah, I think we need to look at the
can have
application
time.
before we can, because it could be an extremely strict application. Or it could be really loose, and that's terrifying, but I wish
Well,
Brian
there's no
mentioned
real
these.
guidelines in here, it just says they could reserve one parking space where access is possible. For a handicapped person, and then on the public buildings, it's like, for use at stated times by patrons, guests, or occupants of such premises for their convenience, so.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
few of
any
these that
business
don't
could say,
require
"Oh, I'm
application.
going to, I need those 2 spots in front of my building for my you know, for my customers, to come, my patrons to come in.
Yeah.
And like, and then, that just totally goes against everything that the Downtown Business Alliance pushes for, which is our walkability.
Yep.
You park your car, you know, you're not driving from business to business, you park your car and you walk up and down Broadway
And
to
the
shop.
Curbs
And eat.
are currently handicap accessible.
Yes, we have it, yeah, exactly, we have handicap accessible parking on every corner, so.
All reserved space permits granted
Sounds
under,
like you ought to just get rid of this whole thing.
I think I agree 100%.
I mean, don't try and figure it out, don't try and fix it.
Just
There's
nix
nothing
it.
in it,
Just
saying
nix it?
good.
Yeah,
I'm okay with
Throw
that.
it away.
yeah. No, the only thing that you would have to do would be just to, like you say, if a government
A government building.
wants to limit the time for parking in front of their, or make it for city business only or government business only, they could probably do that, because every person has a right to access their government. I mean, it's kind of a,
How many
I would
buildings
just
is that?
change number 2 to, government buildings.
Well, then we also have to address number 3.
Well, how about number 1?
Yeah,
I think that speaks, I could go in and say, I want a space in front of my house.
yep.
Right, that's what I was like, that's where I was reading these, I was like, whoa, hang on.
no,
a second.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
right, we just nix
I think- can we
everything,
nix
just
it?
start
But
over.
it's his or her
There's nothing
business
good on that piece
in
of
loading
paper.
or unloading commodities, so that's the important part of that.
But that's what the alleys are for.
Right, and not only that, but like,
In says front or rear of such premises to be used, but what if a business can't get,
so again, if you had like, for instance, Bunny's, what used to be Bunny's Brush,
Yeah,
down there on Main Street, and they say, well, we have shipments delivered, or, we use Babcock and Miles, actually, because
Yes.
they have a bunch of different shipments from a bunch of different companies all the time. If they had a sign out front that says, this is for us to load and unload between the hours of 8 AM and 5 PM, that takes away a whole parking space for
Yeah.
trucks to be coming
no,
through.
and trucks are managing just fine. Cisco parks out in the street with their blinkers on. I mean, we don't
They
use
use the
it.
alleyways.
They use the alleyways when they can. If there's no alley, they park out in the street like they do with
Yeah.
Babcock and Miles. I mean,
Again,
it's working, we don't need,
Let's not
so
recreate the wheel.
we could just axe number 1,
Yep.
change number 2 to government,
Yeah.
buildings,
Okay,
and
so I'm
then
gonna-
handicapped would be number 2.
and then
and then-
handicap, like,
Yeah.
Government building.
again, I feel like that would,
well, and I will
Yeah,
say,
what does that have to do with us?
handicap, no, this is like in a residential area.
yeah.
Like, just down the street here, she's got handicap signs up, because she's, you know, on Platte right here, people park. And
Yeah.
so I don't think she pays for it, but she put, you know, handicap parking
Because
on
you're,
her, and most
Handicap.
people are, you know,
Respectful of that.
respectful of that. You know, I mean, you don't, yeah, if you get an older person, they can't park 3 blocks away to get into their own house, I get that, you know.
Yeah,
So I think that should still be in a residential area if you know, need, and you can just have it in the application.
again, do we have a copy of said application somewhere?
Well, I
Do we
think
know
you're
where it
gonna
is?
have to make one. I don't
Okay.
think
Yeah, and then
there's
also-
one
see
Well,
what
where
the
does it-
application, what that permit actually looks like, because it does refer to both of those things.
So, we'll ask Lonnie.
Well, the county just did this, so they must have filled out an application and paid $2 for lineal foot.
What?
No, we just put a sign up.
Yeah, and it just says 30.
So do we wanna
They-
remove the application process?
No, well, they
or-
just did
No, I
30
think
minute
it's-
parking instead of 2-hour parking there. They just limited it to 30 minutes. It didn't even say for their people only. It was,
Yeah, I feel like an application would be important, because,
yeah.
again, you want to make sure that people are meeting certain criteria.
No space will be reserved.
I mean, is that something that could then go to council,
Right, it would.
approved by council?
Approved by council.
Well, not the application. Oh, you mean like,
I mean, we could have it happen that way, but,
I
Oh,
would
yeah.
want council to approve it. I would want,
no,
I would want the mayor and the department head to approve it.
yep.
I'm trying to get away from council approving things like that.
Yeah, end of the day, we should trust our
we make-
staff to make good
I
decisions.
know, we make the guidelines, and then staff approves it, you know, whether it's the public works or the city police,
All places reserved.
the chief, you know. Because, like, the chief approved for my mom and dad's neighbor, because he'd had back surgery, and so he actually approved for him to park backwards, so that he could get out right onto the sidewalk and go right into his house. He had had back surgery and couldn't, so, you know, I mean, there's, yeah. So I think staff needs to be able to do these.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
I
know.
would say
and I-
probably remove C.
Okay.
Like if you're, I
Yeah,
don't
the
think,
$2 lineal foot per.
yeah, I don't like the idea of having dollar amounts in code.
Uh-uh.
No,
I'm like,
if we
here's,
wanna-
here's my $2 bill. I just want this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just seems silly.
Each day shall be $1 to each lane. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna put a big.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put a bit of extra it. Indicated by standards or signs, all places reserved under subsection A of this, or sorry, I
The whole
got
thing
myself
is there.
distracted, of this section shall be the applicant for whose space is reserved, and with the approval under the direction of chief of police, such standards shall bear the words no parking and must have. So again, I feel like with this one, if they need to have signage, it just should say like signage to be approved by chief of police, because there's other signs in here that would,
Or the public works
Right.
director.
Yep.
Either one, staff.
Yeah.
To be approved by staff, because it doesn't always have to be the chief of police. It
Yeah.
can-
city staff.
What about the cost of the signage? Like if all of a sudden we get 20 people wanting parking, like that comes out of Mike's budget.
Is he paying for this?
No, I think they have to pay for
Pay
their
for their
own
own
signage.
Yeah.
signage. They're
Like the
requesting
lady who put the, handicap parking sign up, it's just on her fence. That type of thing.
Well, you better put that in your thing.
Yeah.
People.
Make
people
sure they
will
know.
Pay for it.
Yeah, and I don't think the city should pay for it. If they wanna go through the hassle,
Paid for by
they need to
applicant.
pay for their own signage. And the signs have to be approved by city staff.
I think you can leave E. You can take it back.
Yeah. It doesn't go with the property. When you sell your house, you don't get to sell your parking space.
Yep, does not convey.
Really? No.
I mean, I'm
Application.
happy to take a first stab at this and then bring it back next time.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great, and again,
If you think of anything else, let me know.
yeah, if we could just get the application and permit from Lonnie and see what that looks like
Right,
too.
like, I wanna see what the application actually,
I'm very curious.
So just like
I'm so nervous.
the church, do any of the churches do this? Like the community church or anything like that? They don't have signs up, do they?
I
think that the one on Main Street might. I don't know
No,
though.
I've never,
And then the Catholic Church, I mean, they have.
the Catholic Church has their angle.
Maybe if you're private property, that's one thing, but.
Right, but I feel like they might have an unload zone
Unless
there.
it's in the alley, do they have a handicap section? Cause in that back part, there's parking.
Yeah, but that's like.
That's private
that's
property
on-
at that point.
That's our private.
Yeah, I
Right.
just feel like there's a sign out front that says, like, no.
Loading zone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
see
can't
the
remember.
loading, but I can't recall a handicap right there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a handicap. I think it's a,
Loading,
yeah,
unloading.
but I'm not sure. I don't know. Like,
So you can drive in there and drop grandma off and then go find a parking spot. or
exactly.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is not.
I think the Elks have that too, don't they? Like some weird thing like that where it's like loading and loading zones. You
No.
Drop people off and,
Kick on.
No, 'cause they don't have that there. It's they have their little driveway there, and that's kind of what that's utilized for. Same with like, back alley where they have a spot in front that is used for loading and unloading for their garage, 'cause that's an access point.
right.
So if you go back to A, the city council may upon written application, and we'll scratch the upon payment. So do we wanna say city staff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The city,
Does there just say the city of Red Lodge?
yeah.
city of Red Lodge.
And I would just say in city right away.
Well, it says.
Public right away.
On the streets of the city for motor vehicles.
So that's the other piece too, is would Main Street be state highway?
It is state highway.
So we don't have any jurisdiction over that,
For city, yeah, streets
Yeah,
of
we
the
do.
city.
but we do. So then, is that something that we would need to confer with the state?
There's
Just double
no-
checking, I don't know.
Like DOT, how does that work with it being the highway?
For parking on Broadway?
Right, well, just basically granting any sort of reserved access, like, I don't
Any
know.
government building or
I think
handicap
you
people?
probably wanna have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
They're all about telling us what we can and can't do, but they're absolutely nothing about doing anything. They
So, yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're not gonna be like, hey, we
So,
can do this, even though we
I
can't.
think somewhere, and I don't know what ordinance it is in or what not, we have it somewhere that, all loading and unloading must occur in the alley and not on Broadway. So you don't have like the Cisco truck parked in the middle of Broadway while it's unloading. I mean, somewhere we have that, I just don't know where it's at. So all, you know, if at all possible, it's supposed to happen in the alley. And if it can't happen in the alley, then it's supposed to happen, you know, not, it
On a
it
side
can't,
street.
yeah, it can't
On the
happen
side,
on Broadway.
on a cross street?
That's probably a DOT.
That could be. Because none of the deliveries come on Broadway, which is a good thing. They used to, and I remember when I first moved here, there would be like trucks just pulled over and unloading
Yeah,
stuff.
but that was before
Okay, so here's,
Yeah. I know, it's back in 1987.
this is under 613, and it says, no on-highway vehicle, whatever, shall be left in or near a single location on Broadway between Fifth and 15th, within 150 feet of intersecting between 8 and 5. For any, longer period, never mind, that's not, loading, unloading, that's not what I'm looking for.
No, it has stuff in here for handicap too.
This is what we're looking at, this one.
Well, there-
Submission
No, it's
penalty,
just like what I wrote.
traffic signs, public operation of golf carts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was going through this the other day, I like there's some interesting rules in here.
Mhm. Exhibition, correcting, parking, is there parking, unloading?
Obstruction of traffic.
If I can search.
I don't know, but I'm reading these and going down a rabbit hole, I have to stop.
Loading. Stopping, standing, no vehicle should remain back to the curb except for the minimum period necessary to load or unload.
But it doesn't say anything about it being Broadway.
No, well, I just.
Yeah, and Mike could be right, it could be a DOT thing, you can't really park on the state highway to unload your stuff.
Yeah, it might not be a city thing.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it could just be common courtesy from our delivery vehicles knowing that they should not do that.
This is something I had read before.
Stopping, standing, parking. That's what it was.
Or entering into and upon West 19th Street in the city
Back to curb.
shall come to a full and complete stop before entering thereon, and shall not start in such motor vehicle until and when it appears to be safe to proceed.
Well, prohibited acts on Broadway.
I will give this a shot in
Well, what
updating it.
prohibited acts on Broadway? It is unlawful for any person to use an occupied avenue of purpose for setting up, assembling, experimenting with, or overhauling any, okay, never mind. Read through the whole thing.
Okay, so you're gonna take a stab at it. Does someone,
Have fun.
who wants to reach out to Lonnie? About, yeah, you sit closest to her there,
I
so
will-
maybe just bring it up to her.
I'll-
See if she can find those for us.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool, and then I just changed the pool, I don't know, you stop calling me. I just changed the pool thing at the bottom where it says, the Red Lodge Pool Committee is hereby dissolved, all further oversight will be directed to the Parks Board.
Not oversight,
What oversight, correspondence?
no, public input.
Yeah.
All further public input. Damn, call.
You might put up there, in your whereases, the
Okay.
swimming pool is a designated public park.
Okay, whereas the city determine where, I can just put in a whole new whereas. Wait,
Yeah.
committee act, okay, and.
Yep.
The city is, that was one of those, this is advisory, okay.
And that's why, therefore, any public input,
Hang on.
they'll be directed to the park board. So Mike's phone doesn't start ringing off the hook because they want extended hours.
Right, do we need a resolution number still? I don't, yeah, well, I sent it to Dennison first to make sure it was, so I'm putting this on the one that he had revised, which I had them both pulled up and I couldn't figure out where. Whereas the public pool is,
Designated city park.
ooh,
Does it have an actual name for a city park, or is it just a bunch of city pools?
I think it's just a city pool.
See, now I wrote city pool instead of city park. So is this gonna be, discussion item for the second October meeting,
Probably.
and then,
Yep,
okay,
and then action in November.
You could talk about it tonight and just say this will be coming forward.
and then vote on it next week?
We could if we wanted to. You know, it doesn't have to be actually in the packet to discuss it. Just say,
Yeah, it's
You
not
know,
like
we
a
will have-
contentious issue.
yeah, we will have a resolution.
I just think,
This is
yeah,
what we're
I know
going to
that,
do. And then we as a council can say tonight, we want to vote on it, and Al Bloomer would probably be very happy if we did that.
Yeah.
He wants it
he wanted
taken care
it done.
Okay.
So, okay, so discussion item tonight, resolution will be presented for action October 24th.
Because we as council can always decide to
Yeah.
make an action item out of it.
Yep. Okay. Y'all good, you guys good over there with
Yep.
typing? Sorry, I just don't
Nope,
wanna
we're
interrupt you
good.
guys while you're getting it on paper. Parks and Sustainability Board update, one thing specifically with parks right now is Teresa Whistler and the folks with the Whistler Observatory have concerns with the county lights on the county buildings shining and, blinding the folks that are using them. They feel it's a safety concern. When it was approached, or when Dave approached, the county commissioners about it, it was a directive of law enforcement or a recommendation of law enforcement because they had issues with the lights getting shot out on those county buildings. They're also seeing a lot more use than they used to, so a lot more rentals, a lot more people coming into the buildings, renting those spaces, and those are 24-hour rentals in a lot of situations.
Wait, which building?
The fairgrounds.
The fairground.
Fairground
So,
building.
I just took a picture of it the other day, actually, because I went to school and I was like, wow, what is going on up there? And I
It is,
pulled over
it's really bright. So the discussion got tamed, and so essentially what is happening at this point is the county doesn't want to be fiscally responsible for doing downward facing lighting, anything of that nature. That being said, obviously, the observatory would still like to see those lights off, as well as many residents in Remington Ranch. So the Parks Board is going to act as a facilitator for conversations to essentially say, okay, county, like, this is what it would cost for you to do downward facing lights. What would you need from people? Like, and again, people outside of, I guess, the city, people that are more affiliated with the parks, to come to a solution. So just trying to create a friendly conversation that can hopefully have some positive outcomes.
And we did bring up the fact that because it's not a city building, we cannot use city funds to pay for their
Correct.
and
Yep.
changes to their lighting.
Yep.
It would have to come from private donations or perhaps,
Rodeo.
a grant through the community fund. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be other places, you know, if they don't want to pay for it, someone else,
Yeah, we're happy to facilitate a conversation to make,
right.
you know, users of our parks happy and comfortable, but also make sure we're not treading on the county and, because again, end of the day, it is their
It
building.
is their building, it is their
And
property. Yeah.
It's
And
their
not-
property.
And it's not in the city limits.
It's not in the city
No.
limits.
We have no jurisdiction on there, do we? Like, none.
And that's just it. It's like, so we can facilitate the conversations and try and come up with some happy solutions. That's kind of where that's at the moment.
And so that is not city property? The
No.
county is-
No.
Okay.
No, it's, because of the animals up there, when they did the animal ordinance
Mhm.
in town, like for horses and stuff like that, and there's horses, boarded up there a lot of the times. And the city passed an ordinance that says you cannot board horses within the city limits. They had to de-annex the rodeo and the fairgrounds,
How long ago was that?
about 10 years ago.
It was,
And the county owns that ground too.
They
Yeah.
do, but it used to be in the city limits.
it was, and it used
Yeah.
to be, I think it was altered with Coons and the Horse,
Yeah,
The
it was
horse
after, yeah,
so that was,
yeah. So
it might have been a
when
little longer.
whoever was on city council at that time said, well, we passed an ordinance and it just made it illegal basically to have the fairgrounds up there. So they had to,
Yeah.
de-annex the fairgrounds and the rodeo grounds.
I boarded a horse with that.
So,
Couldn't they just put an exception in?
I know, yeah.
So yeah, that's where that one's sitting. Again, I think it's worth having on your guys' radar for sure.
Mhm.
It will not go quietly, I assume, and I think that it's honestly something that's worth considering, because it is a nuisance, and, but at the end of the day, it's hard to figure out where our line is on that, so I just feel like that's worth
Yeah.
talking. It's like, okay, we do wanna like benefit our parks, and we wanna take care of our parks, but also when it's outside of city jurisdiction, at that point, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, we have to, yeah.
So, again, happy to be a
Tread
facilitator,
lightly, I
and,
guess is what you're saying.
yeah, exactly, just be cautious, that, you know, these conversations are coming, and, we wanna do what we can. Trying to think, anything else with parks, board,
The tennis courts?
tennis courts, that was a really good one, actually, so,
I heard of this
um,
one.
started moving forward where pickleball folks, tennis folks, the school looking for funding to redo, and Mike, I quoted you substantially.
Sorry, Mike.
No, it's a good thing. So we had a lot of folks coming forward, like, yeah, we need this funding to redo the tennis courts, we need all this funding to redesign the tennis courts, well, why can't we just use the city engineers to do it? And I said, it's because it's really expensive. And I'm like, look, if you guys want to do this, that's fantastic, and there's a lot of grant opportunities out there that we can start exploring, and
I
Look-
met that one guy last week, right before the meeting, the guy that did all the work down
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
and they just finished the tennis courts in Shoto, got the coating on them, and, you know, I told him, I said, we're over $400,000 just doing those tennis courts,
mhm,
so, I mean, it's not, yeah, let's just do this.
yeah.
It's gonna take some time.
And so one thing that we kind of, as a Parks Board, started to recommend to a lot of the individuals who are interested is, okay, let's do similar to like what they did with the soccer fields. Let's
And the
get
pool.
a local
local committee.
committee, an initiative built,
Mhm.
start to do the groundwork on feasibility and engineering and all of the pieces, come up with actual designs and those types of pieces, have shovel-ready projects that then we can take forward for grants. So,
Well, and we also talked about, you know, perhaps the city appoints a tennis court or a tennis/pickleball court committee, like we did
like we
before.
did with the pool,
Like,
yeah.
For fundraising, you know,
Yep.
and if they want this, you know, then
Is it-
let's start
is
raising
it the-
some money.
Is it
Yeah.
the city park, or is it the?
It's
Is it in the
the
same
school,
location?
so that was the other thing that people are gonna be,
Somewhere there's a MOU that
right.
drives it, but I have not found it.
And that's just it, is that was also part of the conversation based off what it says within cadastral and how it's deeded, it is school land.
Okay.
So, on that note too, we gotta find where those agreements are and what those say in terms of what our role is.
And if the
The,
tennis,
Field School Park,
yeah,
what it's called.
Mhm.
yeah. And if the tennis team reaches tenure, then it will become, I think, a permanent sanction
Yep.
sport.
Yep.
So, you know, perhaps,
And we are almost there,
Yeah.
aren't we?
I think,
3
it's
years.
pretty close.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a growing sport with the school and
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm all
Maybe,
for it,
you know,
but,
maybe they'll possibly support helping with the the
Yeah.
fundraising,
This
stuff
is,
like that.
this is, I believe this is third, if not third,
I think they
fourth.
said they had to, was it 5 years or
Is it
7
5
years?
for Jenna?
5 or 7.
I don't
know.
remember
She
off the
said
top of
in
my
the
head.
meeting.
Yeah,
But
I don't remember what she said, but it is something that is coming up in the
It was
future.
Dr. Reynolds.
So
Kelly.
basically, it's like club sport now, and it needs,
No, it's, so when
It's
they
yeah.
implement a new sport, so we had to do it with wrestling, and because of all the Title IX stuff and everything, but because it is a newer sport to Red Lodge, it's basically considered like on a probationary period for X amount of years to see, you know,
interest remains.
the interest remains,
Not
the
to
cost,
preserve.
see if it's a viable sport for the school to maintain.
And it has to go so many years before it reaches that threshold.
Yep.
And Kelly Reynolds said what it was, and
Yeah, I can't remember. I think she said they're on,
I think.
And I think they're on year 3.
But wrestling was 5.
Then it would be the same.
yeah, so I think they're on year 3 is where I'm getting the
I'm
3
trying
in
to
my
think
brain.
who was on it the first year, because the first year that's when I was working.
But if it does become a sanctioned permanent
Actual
sport, then you might get more support from the school system.
Oh, absolutely.
On doing those, so they can have home tournaments.
Yeah, and just education grant, like, there's gonna be a lot of grant
There'll be a lot more
opportunities
grant
for
op-
something.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say,
And that's one thing too, is the pickleball folks, they were talking about, one, that they might know a lot of private donors as well as grant opportunities and people that are willing to be organized. But I mean, there's a massive user group for the pickleball folks, and frequent. Like, I think they said 4 days a week and like 40 people in their
Yeah,
club.
it's a lot of pickleball, and it's
yeah.
the growing sport in the country.
Yep.
And
I literally knew someone who
Minneapolis
bought a
is
house just because the garage was big
Go to
enough to play
Cody.
pickleball.
I think
Isn't that
that
going all
tennis
different pickleball?
people need to form a similar group.
Yeah, agreed. So,
They're
again,
not
I think,
organized.
have them go to Cody too.
right?
Cody's got all the pickleball locations,
So I think,
including at the rec center, they actually have a, like,
Really?
yeah, so they actually have the pickleball, like, they taught us, when I took my students down there was a guy there who actually brought us in, and there were a bunch of us just messing around, and
Like in the hockey rink area or the?
no, like the rec,
pool?
no,
Or
the
outside?
pool, the pool. So
The pool.
inside, they have it divided, and half of it is designated to pickleball now. Like, you know, it has the walking track upstairs, and then like they put up the divider in their basketball courts, but they have,
Wow.
yeah, it was.
yeah, pickleball is a big deal. And so
And
again,
then
I think there's a lot of
outdoor
really motivated individuals for this right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
that,
they're
and they
rowdy.
kind of have some,
They gotta play like 7 times a week.
I know.
and again, I think that they're feeling some direction too, where before they just always thought it was the city's responsibility to do it. I think they have a better understanding of what to expect.
And is that sinkhole gonna continue to be an issue?
Well, and I think
Yeah.
that's part of the, that's the main.
Yeah,
because
that's-
Part of the engineering?
Yeah, so I mean,
They all have to be torn out there.
Yeah.
Have to be rebuilt. I mean, it would be like a whole new redesign type of thing.
yeah, this would be a massive scale project. It'd be like essentially another pool project.
Right. So when they did the pool project, do any of you know, did the money go to the community foundation?
At first it did to help build the endowment.
Okay, but no, I'm talking about when the committee was formed and they were
Wait, I have
raising that
the-
$1 million.
Oh, then I don't know.
Did it
I
go
have
to
the
city?
resolution
Oh.
for
No, it
the
went-
committee,
it
or for the pool.
I think it went to the foundation.
Go into the foundation,
So it was
Yeah.
a tax deductible donation for them?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
and the foundation managed all the money, they managed it all.
Yeah,
Okay, so I think it would have to be something similar to that, so people could have a tax deduction for
Yep.
their donation then.
yeah, it'd have to be a nonprofit 501c3, and they could even, and we even told them that and gave them that direction too, to where it's
Yeah.
like, you can do even just a fiscal sponsorship, though. And, I mean, I think that's kind of how the pool did it, except for the foundation didn't do it as a fiscal sponsorship, they did it as an actual program within the community foundation versus like a fiscal sponsorship where there's actually a pretty substantial overhead that, or administrative fee that goes back to the foundation in that regard. But then if you have it as a foundation program, like, they're running it, so.
Oh,
There's-
wow, that,
again-
I mean, I have the resolution for when they created the committee right here. Lonnie sent it to me when I was
Dissolving it.
dissolving it, so she sent
Yeah.
me everything. Committee shall be established, maintained, the committee shall consist, like, it has all the by rules.
But I don't think it has like where the money.
Well, that's what I was trying to
deposited.
see.
I don't think that was part of it.
Yeah, I think it was just the committee for the city, not the,
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't have any, it doesn't say.
yeah.
So,
I
but it's
think
similar.
that's really exciting news, and I hope that it.
Yeah.
And if they, you know, I guess if we need direction from the city or a resolution to form it or what have you.
Yeah.
Think about that.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty decent update for now. It's 5:40. We have 20 minutes till the meeting starts, so any other discussion?
I
Your
changed
time running to get pizza?
Right? I know, I'm starving.
I can get my kids to direct bring it to me.
Do you ever get them from the Zip Trip? They're
Oh, God,
$12.99.
so good.
Yeah,
good.
$12.99.
All right, well, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting.